afternoon. My name is Ivy Byes McKenzie, and today I'll be reflecting on my experience working with my small group on the 10,000 investment. So, working with that group reminded me of a lot of the experiences that I had as a Marine and currently right now with working with other Marines. And it consisted of a lot of team effort, communication, a lot shared responsibility, and understanding where each other is coming from and understanding each other's different situations. Because a lot of this allowed us not to just come come in come into this assignment as individuals. It made us have a common goal regarding this assignment. Of course, it required a couple of adjustments and everything like that, but we eventually figured it out here and there and made everything work, especially with the time difference for us. But I would consider this a team rather than a group, just because we relied on each other and shared a lot of responsibilities, and then we also made decisions with each other to to achieve our outcome regarding the investment of how we wanted to invest our money. Plus, the individuals in the group each took on different assignments and roles very naturally. So early on, we had selected a team leader, which I was, and then we also selected an observer. Of course, we selected a different observer for each meeting that we did. So my role as the team leader was to kind of have a guided discussion, so keeping the meetings organized and making sure everyone had a chance to contribute and stuff like that. Everybody takes a turn. Other members also played important roles, of course. For example, like Andrea and Jalissa, they both took initiative by researching stock prices and making sure to get us as much facts as we needed. While Keisha, she actually asked some important questions, like clarification questions that helped the group, helped us make some important decisions, especially on how we decided to split the $10,000 during that time. And then when we decided the observer for the for each meeting, um, our interactions may have changed slightly, just because I know during the second meeting we had assigned Jalissa as the observer, but at that time she was also gonna list out all the research that she had done. So we let her run off all the research, and then we had her do the observing part for the actual meeting after that. But the participation was overall balanced, and the group made sure everyone had an input and everybody was heard. We had several norms developed within our group. A formal norm, which was meeting on a schedule and making decisions together, with un, no one making just weird choices. We also had informal norms, which included respectful communication, asking questions, and making sure everyone understood decisions before moving forward, of course. Attendance remained consistent, and we worked through our time zone differences, as I said before, to find perfect meeting times that worked for everybody. And then meetings usually started with reviewing the assignment for current progress and then moved into discussion and decision making. When I was leading, I helped keep the group focused, of course, and others also stepped up when needed to. They showed a lot of shared leadership, and our leadership style was more democratic for sure, because it was everyone's equal, everyone has a say, everyone gets to play a part, everyone should have a fair input and take turns, of course. And if we had any conflict, which we actually never did, so everything was a common goal and a common shared idea. And regarding status and power, we're fairly balanced in our group, so we really didn't have much like a power struggle or that made us kind of unbalanced in the group. Because even when I had the leadership role, I didn't have to take full control over decisions. Like, other people could have a say. I mean, power mainly came from participation and knowledge, especially when members who researched the stock prices had informational power that influenced our decisions. I also used this by asking questions and guiding discussion. There were no major power struggles, and the group maintained a respectful and very cooperative environment throughout this entire process, honestly. Shoot. And then the interaction patterns improved over time, especially because the first meeting we had to we introduced ourselves, of course. We had to kind of figure out each other's time differences and what worked for each other. So communication was a bit slow just due to the time difference. But as we continued going through the meetings and the group became more comfortable and efficient, there were no clear cliques, and the group remained cohesive. So everyone contributed and worked toward the same goal. So we had a very consistent pattern for sure, and we followed reviewing stocks options, discussing how we wanted to divide the investment, and then agreeing as a team that we're just going to divide this investment by 3 ways and stuff like that, because we're going to act as if we're all one company basically. So then we divide the money that we have, divide it up, which helped us stay very organized and not all on the same page. Especially after Keisha had asked that question, very on clarifying on how we want to divide it. It allowed everything to run way smoother too. And then our group moved through all the 4 stages of development, like forming, storming, norming, and performing. During the forming stage, we initially, as I said before, we introduced ourselves and discussed our availabilities. And then in the storming, we had discussed about how to divide the 10,000, including whether we wanted to split it evenly among companies or individuals. In the norming stage, we agreed to invest evenly across Apple, Amazon, and Google, and our communication became more organized. Finally, in the performing stage, we worked officially by a reviewing stage, and we worked officially by reviewing stock performances and making final decisions as a team. Actually, I was proud. But we didn't get stuck in any stage really, because when we got through the very first stage of forming, that actually helped us get through all the other stages. So, and then especially when we got through the stage of clarifying where we wanted to be on how we wanted to divide the $10,000, it allowed everything to progress very smoothly overall. The agenda we followed was really similar to the reflective thinking process. We identified the tasks, we gathered information about the stock prices, we discussed our options, made decisions together. The process worked well because it kept us focused and helped us make logical decisions, and no really emotional decisions for anyone individually. And just everything was more of a cohesive and very logical way of thinking, and all as a group together. And then also, I believe our group was really effective overall, just because we successfully invested in Apple, Amazon, Google, and all 3 stocks. Showed a positive movement by the final meeting, and we were pleased with our communication and teamwork and ability to reach agreed decisions. One area for improvement, of course, would be the time management. Just because we're trying to figure out how we would. It was just the time difference, honestly, regarding the time management. So trying to figure out who's working that day. We figured it out. It's just it would be nice if we were all in the same time difference. So I was honestly, but other than that, I'm we actually made it work very much, and I really appreciate them for coming especially straight to me after I asked about availability, what times work for them. Got back to me very fast and very very clear and precise on where they'll be at for every meeting or planned scheduled meetup for us. This experience actually reinforced the importance of teamwork and communication and shared decision. It reminded me of actually being in the Marine Corps, actually working with a team and trying to figure everything out and understanding all the bumps and the conflicts that can arise during the time when you're working in a team and working with people that's new, and also that might have time difference or might just have different personalities. But it was also showing how we develop over time and how we progress, and we get from coming from that like not stable ground to finding a good foundation to work on and becoming stronger and growing stronger collaborations to lead to like way better results and way more effective communication over time. So that was how my reflection of the group was. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.